you, everyone. This is Nicholas Berlarley reporting live in front of Bridgeport's brightest lights, where we are completely snowed in. We have not seen snow this high in a very, very long time. And a lot of people would say this is not a snowtastic situation. But everyone wants to know the one simple question: why is there still no behind the scenes for the Christmas light show? Well, we'll find out all of these answers soon here on News 2 Pixel. Hey everyone, thanks for watching How To Pixel, and today we actually have a little tiny bit of a behind the scenes tour of the Christmas light show. It's February, the middle towards end of February, and normally this video is out in December. So why is it coming out now? Well, I'm sure for most of you, you don't even care why it took this long. You're just happy that it's here in the first place. And if you're one of those people and would just like to skip instantly to the little bit of the behind the... If you would just like to skip to the behind the scenes tour part, then skip to this time somewhere on the screen. I'll put it somewhere, I don't know where I'll put it. For those of you though that are curious as to why it's taken this long, and also why I'm dressed like I came from the deep depths of Antarctica, stay tuned. So basically we got hit by the biggest snowstorm we've ever seen in like 20 years, so just a minor thing to happen. And we've just had non-stop snow. I got sick for 2 weeks, and many other things that have happened. Normally I make this video in December when the light show is up and running so I can show you it. I think last year it came slightly after the light show, but it was still like right around that period of time. But for the first time in the history of the light show, when the light show ended, there was snow on the ground, which that's totally normal to happen for this area where we live. But just for the past 4 years, we've gotten lucky. January time comes and there's no snow for some reason. I thought global warming was a thing, but apparently not, because there's snow again. Huh. I'm joking, but basically, I didn't want to try and record when there was that much snow on the ground, because I wouldn't be able to show everything easily, and it'd be hard to walk around and just be annoying. So I thought, okay, I can wait until the snow melts, whatever. The light show probably won't be coming down for a few extra weeks, because normally it comes down New Year's Day, the day after New Year's Day. But with snow being on the ground, obviously it can't come down as easily. So I waited, and a week or two went by, and the snow was still there, but at a much lower level. So I thought, you know what, I really want to get this video out. I'm just going to record it within this coming week. Well, that coming week, I got extremely sick with pneumonia. Woo! And I was sick for almost 2 weeks, and during that 2 weeks, of course, was when the snow was at its lowest, and it probably would have been the best time to record. So that passed, and I finally wasn't sick, and there was a lot of snow now, more than there was before. So I just kept waiting and waiting, thinking, oh, it could get better, it can get better, it'll eventually get better, until the biggest snowstorm that we've seen in forever hit New York. And then that caused me to make the video before this, which was called Operation Save the Light Show, because everything was still up for the Christmas light show. I couldn't take it down. And all of the controller boxes with expensive equipment were still out there. So I went and basically dug tunnels to each of the controller boxes, unhooked everything, and pulled them out. So if you're interested in that, then go check out this video right here. But long story short, I did all of that. The controller boxes are now safe. The only ones that aren't down are the ones on the one on the roof and the one right here. This one I'm not concerned about because there's no snow around it. The one on the roof, I am not going up there with all the snow up there. So if that one breaks, then that sucks. I'll have to deal with that. So since the snow isn't going to be going away for any time soon, and since we're supposed to have more snow coming for this storm, I figured, why not just record the behind the scenes now? So there we go. That's the whole story as to why we got to this point of the behind the scenes video being out in February. But now for what to expect in this video, this is not going to be like all of the previous years behind the scenes videos. This is going to be a very short, condensed one. And all I'm going to be showing is stuff that is different from the Halloween light show of 2024 to the Christmas light show of 2024. And the reason for that is I have a whole entire behind the scenes video of this past year's Halloween light show, which you could check out here. And almost everything is the same as it was for that. This entire setup back here was the same. Multiple props like the house, windows, the door, the peace stakes. Almost everything was the same. So you can find a very detailed explanation of everything in that video. This video is just going to be showing what that video didn't include. So Christmas related stuff that I haven't shown before. If it's Christmas stuff that I have shown before, you can go check out an older year's behind the scenes video, because I also have explained everything at this point like 8 times now in all of the behind the scenes videos. So this is going to be just specifically new stuff. But with all of that out of the way, let's actually get started. And I will actually start over here briefly because there is one little change that happened over here. It was a very simple change, did not impact really anything. But basically for the 2024 light shows, I got this new smart surge protector. And I could control each of the outlets from my phone, set timers for them, and it worked great. That way I could cut the power during the day and after the light show is done running, because I don't need the power running for all of that. But it still wasn't enough outlets, so I had 2 more smart plugs down here that were by a different brand, and that also had timers and whatever set for them. I hated that brand, and I hated having to have 2 apps for everything, so I bought 2 new smart plugs that are the same brand as that surge protector. So that's the one simple change. There might be another one that I can't remember if I talked about before or not. I will just go over it briefly. There's a router out here. I think this was here for the Halloween light show. I can't remember though, because that was 4 months ago now at this point. But it's better than the old light show router. It's faster, newer, and there's more advanced stuff I could do to mess around on it. So I replaced the old light show router with this one, and all of the controllers and Raspberry Pis and whatever hook up to that. Very quickly, all that we have up here are 2 Raspberry Pis, an FM transmitter, and a DMX wireless controller. It controls some bracelets and wands that I have that people that come to the light show can buy, and it sends signals to them so they can work wirelessly. One of the Raspberry Pis control the whole light show. The other one controls a panel that I have that's right over here. Okay, and I lied. One final change that I don't think was here for the Halloween light show was I got a USB to Ethernet adapter for the Raspberry Pi that runs the panel, because the Ethernet port on there has to go directly to the color light card that runs in the panel. And I'd been having some problems with the panel flickering, so some people said maybe get a USB to Ethernet adapter so you can plug another Ethernet cable in and hardwire it to the router. I did that. It did absolutely nothing. It did not solve the problem, but it's there now. And in here, just like for the Halloween light show, I have my F16V3, a 12-volt power supply. The DMX bracelets and wands controller is connected to the DMX port on there. And I have the garage, the windows, and the door connected to the F16V3. The extra port is not being used. It was just there for the pumpkins for the Halloween light show. If I'm explaining any of this too fast or you don't understand what's going on, you can find out more detailed explanations in the Halloween behind the scenes. This is just to quickly show you what is back here. So now there were 4 more controller boxes outside of the garage. One of them went to the tree, one of them controlled everything in the yard that you can't even see because it's buried in snow, and the other one controlled these driveway arches and mini trees down there, which you also cannot see since they're buried in snow. The final one is that one right there that you can barely see sticking up above the snow. That one controls everything that's on the roof. But all the boxes that were on the ground, I brought in and disconnected everything from them, so I won't be really showing those out there because they're not out there anymore. And this was in the last video, Operation Save the Light Show, where I brought these in. This was the main box that ran almost everything in the yard, and inside of it, if I can open it, it's freezing cold and like kind of stuck. There was an F16V5 and a singular 12-volt power supply. This controlled the P stakes, the arches, and the candy canes and the 2 and 2 sign directly on it. Then I had 3 chains of differential receivers on the top, and those, was it 3 chains? Yes, 3 chains, and each chain went to another controller box. There was also another Ethernet cable there that used to go to the Dragon for the fog machine and the Halloween light show, but the Dragon obviously wasn't up for the Halloween or for the Christmas light show, but I just left the Ethernet cable in there. This was the other box that controlled stuff in the yard, and I will open this one. This was a very simple box. One singular differential receiver, a 12-volt power supply. This controlled the 3 driveway arches and the mini trees, and this received signal from the F16 V5 in here. And then the final controller box, if I can reach it over here. This one is the one that controls the Mega Tree. This box has not changed in years. It's literally the same as it is every single year. So if you watch an older behind the scenes video, you could see what's in that one. But that controls the Mega Tree. And then up there in that box, there's 2 12-volt power supplies, 2 differential receivers, and that controls these 3 singing bulbs, a roof outline that you cannot even see because of the amount of snow, and then some snowflakes at the very top of the roof, which you also can't see because they're buried in snow. Oh, you can see one of them right there. But most of them got turned from the wind blowing so hard, they're not straight or facing the right way at all now. So yeah. So that's the quick overview of some of the things that are normally the same every single year that don't change. But now I can slow down, take a breath, because I'm going to show you some of the stuff that is new from this past year and explain why this got done or what happened with it. So the first change from something in the Halloween light show to the Christmas light show is a little modification we made to how the lights that go around the windows and doors and garage hang. We only made this modification to the garage, but I'm hoping next year that we can do this with everything. And you may notice it if you watch the other behind the scenes. And it's that we added a piece of PVC pipe on the very top of the garage. So for those of you who don't know, I'll explain it briefly. This year we got new siding on the house, and last year I just drilled everything into the house, and I had done that for the past few years because my parents were like, oh, we have old siding, we don't care, just drill into it. But now we got this nice brand new siding, and you obviously don't want to put holes into nice brand new siding. So we tried to come up with other ways to hang the strips that go around the garage, or which would be going around the windows and doors, but those ones got taken down for a reason I'll explain in a second. And we came up with this idea to glue washers to the not the actual siding itself, but the pieces that go around the siding on like the edges, and then get a very strong magnet. That magnet can hook to the washers, and then you can put that put the hook that's on that magnet into the strip. It was a great idea in theory, and it worked for all of the verticals, but for the horizontals, it did not work because the lights would start to droop, and because there's a magnet there, one in the middle, and one in the end, and I do not like lights that droop. I'm used to them being perfectly straight, because when you drill them in, you can obviously drill it super tight, and you won't have any problems with it drooping. But if you try and pull the magnets try and pull the strip very tight so it doesn't droop, it just rips the magnets right off. They're strong, but not strong enough for that. So I had to make the decision, do I want the lights sagging, or do I want the magnets snapping off every 2 seconds? So I kind of tried to meet in the middle, where there was a little bit of sag, but they're still tight enough to just barely have the magnets hold on, but it still didn't work, and maybe once or twice a week, something would have magnets pop off, and then the window would fall, or the garage would fall. So, and it was really bad right here on this section, since it's the longest horizontal line. So someone in the comments gave me an idea to use a piece of PVC pipe. Now, I didn't have a lot of it, but I had one long enough piece to test it on the garage. And for the Christmas light show, we put it up there, we hooked it to everything, and we also put a hole in it so you can hook it to the magnets, and it worked amazingly. This section is so straight now compared to some of the other ones that I can show you in a second. The vertical ones still don't have much of a problem. They have just fallen apart from being out here for so long, and still I haven't been able to take them down. I mean, I could take them down right now, but I want to do everything at once. I don't like just slowly taking it apart. Now for this window, there's nothing on the window. And that's because it kept falling off, and like a week ago, I'm like, there's no point in me continuing to fix this. The light show's over, so I just ripped it down and left it on the ground, and I'll take care of it another time. The floodlight's still out here too, and that's underneath this cone, so no one steps on it. I could also take that apart, but then again, I haven't. And also, the door fell down too. There's even hooks still up for the door that I haven't taken care of. But then, another thing too that happened with this is the washers. We painted them white so they would blend in, but the paint kept getting chipped off every time these slid. And a part of that problem is because we had them so tight that it kept sliding it up. So hopefully the PVC pipe next year, if I could put it on every horizontal part, it should fix that, hopefully. Now, as you can see, for this window over here that's still up, the horizontal piece is drooping because I couldn't pull it any tighter, otherwise the magnets would snap off. And the same for the bottom. And these pieces even have the full-on Coro trim, or Coro, I think that's what it's called, yeah. Where basically it's thicker than the vertical parts, because for the vertical parts you don't need a thick part, it's normally fine, but it's supposed to help on horizontal parts to not have it droop as much. That piece over there doesn't even, the garage horizontal doesn't even have a piece of Coro trim, and that's fine with the PVC pipe. But this, without the PVC pipe, still is having problems even being the Coro trim. The wreath, I will come back to this in a second for how we got this to stay up, because this is new with the siding, because last year I just, again, drilled holes through it. And over here we have this last window, if I don't fall in the snow, because I'm walking in very deep snow. It's also the same as the last window. There's a magnet in each corner, Coro trim on the bottom and tops, and regular strip on the sides, and still have the same problem. So hopefully PVC pipe will fix that next year. Now for the wreath, I actually have to get something first so I can show you how it's hooked to the siding. So on the siding, for every few sections, if you look under here, there's a little gap between the pieces, because they're separate pieces. So you can see there's that little gap there, but like for this piece here, there is no gap because it's connected together as one. But this next piece has a gap, that one doesn't, that one has a gap, and so on. So what we did was take these decorative vinyl siding hooks. I cannot remember if I got these online or at Home Depot or Lowe's. It was so long ago. But they're just decorative vinyl siding hooks. They look like this, if I can get the light to stop reflecting off of them. They have a hook on the right side, right there, and then they have like a bigger dent on the left side. So we stuck, if I can get it so you can see, we took that big dent and that went up under the siding and actually held on surprisingly well. You can't pull it out. Then we took a zip tie, wrapped it around that little hook, the not wider hook, and we just zip tied that around the wreath. So it was as simple as that. Actually, no drilling or anything like that. Just slid it under the siding, put a zip tie on it, and zip tied the wreath to it. So there's one at the top and then one on each side. You don't need one on the bottom. I tried with just the one at the top, but it obviously was not going to be strong enough, and I kind of figured it wouldn't be, so I did have to put one on each of the sides. But I actually like this even more than drilling it into the siding last year. Even if we were to still have old siding, I would have done this. So that is something that got changed for the Christmas light show. I think it could be very useful for a lot of other props too that is hung on the side of a house. So hopefully maybe you could find that useful for props you have. Coming over here, we have the mega tree. Nothing at all changed for the mega tree. Whoa, I just fell deep into the snow. It's not packed down here. You might be able to see the vast amount of ice on all of the strips because we had all of this snow. It got warm, it started to melt a little bit of it, and then it got freezing cold again. So if I can attempt to walk over here and not fall, you can see all of the icicles just hanging on the strip. and the pixels themselves. It's so cool though, because I could just come right here and like rip it right off. I probably shouldn't do that though, because it might break it if it's very frozen. Whatever though. But everything for the mega tree is the exact same. The star is the same, the pole, all of the above things. You can't see the bottom because it's buried under snow. And then right now you also cannot see the controller box because with yesterday's Operation Save the Light Show, I pulled that off. And I say yesterday's operation, but that video was probably posted like a week ago. And you can see all of the vast amount of wires that I just had to unplug. I'm not too concerned about leaving them in the snow. They should be fine. If they do somehow get damaged, they're not too expensive to replace at all. I did have one wire where I was trying to yank it through the snow, and I probably should have dug it out instead of pulling as hard as I did, and it snapped the wire just because of how cold and frozen it was. But all of the other ones, as long as I don't move them anymore, they should be fine. Oh, and another thing that is different with this setup this year is I have this piece of strip, and I have it attached to the very back of the ring that goes around the pole. And I have this strip coming down to the very end of the 4x4 beam. If you've seen the behind the scenes before, you know that we have a 4x4 beam that goes this way and another one that goes this way. They cross, and right in the middle is the hole for the pole. On the ends of the 4x4s, there's a place to hook a piece of PVC pipe to bend all the way around the tree to there, and then I can attach all of the strips to that piece of PVC pipe. Well, a problem I'd been having for many years now is even though the guy wires, I have those 3 guy wires, one that comes back there this way, one that comes there, and another one that goes over there. Those kept the pole straight, but with all of these strips yanking on the front of that little circle disc up there that holds them, I was afraid it was going to start breaking it. So I took this piece of strip, connected it to the back, and attached it all the way to the back of the 4x4 over here. And it's 2 pieces of strip actually, so it's very strong. You can see here there's like 4 pieces where it overlaps. And I just yanked on it as hard as I could to hopefully outweigh the front of it pulling on it. I'm trying to get a good angle so you can see. It kind of helped it. It's still a little crooked. Overall, I think it's a little bit bad to have all of the strips as tight as I want them to be, just because it puts so much more pressure on it, and now I'm having to add even more pressure to outweigh this pressure. So it might be bad for it in the end, but next year is going to be the last year of the light show anyway, like I've said before. So one more year, it will be fine. Just maybe if you're starting off, consider having your strips a little bit more loose so you don't need all of that pressure for years on that thing. I'm sure for 1 or 2 years it can hold up with all that pressure, but we're going to be going on 5 years or 4 years soon, so I'm a little bit nervous about it. Now the next thing that I would normally show is everything in the yard, but it is completely buried in feet of snow, not just a foot or inches, feet of snow. Especially in other sections like where the plow dumps all of the snow into our yard when it goes over, that's buried too. So all of the mini trees up in the front, they're completely buried. Every single piece stake, you cannot see a singular piece stake. There's 100 of them total, they're all buried. You can only see the arches and the candy canes and the Tune 2 sign over there. Normally right here is where I'd have the main yard box that runs everything in the yard. It has the F16 V5 in it, and all of the other boxes connect to this one. But yesterday I pulled it out, so it didn't have to be here buried under the snow. This whole pit area I had to dig out with a shovel, and then the hardest part was there's 5 Ethernet cables I have run right into the box. Like, I don't have a connector outside of them that they plug into. They go straight into the box, into whatever they plug into. So after I unhooked almost everything, I had to move the box and like lean it against the arch, open it up, hope no snow got inside of it while I was out here, and disconnect those. I'm not concerned about any of these wires. Like I said, it's the same with the tree. The only thing I am concerned about are the Ethernet cables, because those have open ends. So I put some tape around them, tried to keep them off the ground. And there's 5 of them, and they're like 100 feet, or not 100 feet, 50 to 75 feet each. So they're kind of expensive when you have to replace that many. So I'm hoping those don't get damaged. I'm not going to talk about the arches or the candy canes, how they're built, or the Tune 2 sign. I've talked about it every single other year and other behind the scenes videos too. Same with the piece stakes. You can actually see one piece stake right here. I can kind of dig it for you. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. The snow is starting to freeze again since it's getting so cold. But there's 100 of these all over the yard. And they just have 5 lights that face forward, and you could do some cool effects to make them bounce up and down. I'll link a video up here to them. I've talked about them before. There's nothing new on the roof for props, at least. The roof outline's the same. All of the snowflakes are the same, and the singing faces. The only difference is the controller box used to be next to the blue singing face on the far right side. This time it's on the right side of the red singing face. And the reason for that is since I moved the main controller from being in the garage to normally being right here, it would be easier to just move the box from over there to right here, so the Ethernet cable doesn't have to go all the way across, then down. All it did was just come from right there immediately down, and it runs somewhere under all of this snow over to here. Don't ask me where, I have no idea. You can see it right here though on the gutter. I have this green power cable which delivers all the power for the roof, and then that Ethernet cable is down there. The power cord runs back to the garage, and the Ethernet cable runs over to there. Even though I've said this in many other behind the scenes videos, I guess I should just show this quickly. All of the power obviously comes through here where the smart plugs are. That's why I have them here. So all of these power cords run out into this jumbled mess, and then into what I call the highway of cables, which you can normally see run down the side of the house. And it's like 9-10 cables I have taped together, maybe even more. But with the snow, you can't see it. So all of the power gets delivered where it needs to go. There's separate sections, like the Megatree has its own power wire, the roof, the yard. And then one singular Ethernet cable comes out from the router to the yard box, and then the Ethernet cables divide from the yard box to wherever they need to go. We have this panel build right here. I've also talked about this many times in its own video. Something that's changed this year with all the snow is it is much harder now to try and wheel it out. As you can see, it is at a severely tipped angle, just because it's our driveway is probably at least 2 inches underneath all of this snow. So, and we can't plow it because it's hard now from just standing on it and driving on it and whatever for months. So it's getting a lot harder to wheel it out. I can't even latch it right here anymore because the height of it is much higher than it used to be without the snow here. So the latch doesn't correctly reach here just because of the height being changed. So nothing really new about the panel itself. It's just very hard to move it now. I've really wanted to upgrade this, but I don't know how to make it better for certain circumstances, like better wheels, but then that's going to make it come farther out of the garage and not sit perfectly aligned with it. So many different things, but if you want to see how it's built and all of the details, check out this video right here. And then the final thing in the light show are the driveway arches. These are new this year, but they were in the Halloween show, so I sort of talked about them before. I'm really hoping this spring to make a video just about how these are built and everything about it, because there's not a whole ton to them, but I feel like I should make a separate video just so I can include all of the details. What it basically is just metal EMT pipe. We got a pipe bender to bend these angles so it comes up straight, goes at a 45, then straight across. And then we got this garden edging stuff, which has these holes in it so you can stake it in the ground and then like edge your garden. But we repurposed it by drilling the holes a little bit bigger so the pixels could fit, and then just zip tying it to the EMT. And I said in the Halloween behind the scenes, we found this video from another light show that showed this idea, so that's where we got it from. The only problem is, since it's been up for almost 4 months, no, since the beginning of October, so November, December, January, yeah, almost 4 months, it is starting to sag a lot. Looking back at it, these angles probably should have been made a little less than 45, So once it started sagging, it would sag to a normal position, but we didn't quite think of that. So it's getting a lot lower, and with my dad's truck, it's getting a little bit closer to hitting it. Also because with all the snow piling up, there's not enough distance between the ground and these. So these are probably gonna be the first thing I take down if the snow starts to get a little lower. We might have to make some modifications to them just so that they don't sag. But I really like these though. These made the light show really cool. And we have 3 of them, the front one, the middle one, the back one, and they were all controlled by the box that used to be there. And then you would normally be able to see 5 mini trees right here, but with multiple feet of snow that's almost as tall as me from the plow pushing it over, it's not there anymore. Oh, and one other thing with these driveway arches, they do move a whole lot with the wind. Like I'm gonna barely shake them right now, and the whole thing moves a lot. But they're secure enough into the ground because we have a piece of rebar going way into the ground that comes up to about here inside the pipe, and it holds it up just fine. But that is the brief behind the scenes tour, showing you everything that you don't know for like new stuff. And if you want to see any of the other things that I did not explain in detail, since I went through this very fast, you can check out the other videos. To finish this video off, I'm gonna go inside because the wind is picking up and it is freezing out here. So all of that was recorded in the middle towards end of February. It's now March. It took me a little bit to edit this, but thankfully most of the snow has melted and I've actually been able to take down some of the light show, a very small portion of it. There's still a lot of stuff buried under ice that I can't get to. But at least the snow is going down, and at least I got to record that behind the scenes video before I started taking anything down, so you could see everything that was in the show this year, or this past year. But that's really about it for this video. I showed everything new that I could think of. If you have any questions or comments, or think I missed anything, just want to know any detail, please feel free to let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. The next video might take a little bit of time to work on because it's something unique that I haven't ever done before. So that'll be your little teaser for what's coming up next. But thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video.